Kindness needs boundaries, a life lesson. Life is diverse and ever-changing. As we grow, we are taught about the value of kindness. We are encouraged to help others, to be compassionate, and to act with generosity. However, one harsh reality that many fail to recognize is this: kindness without boundaries can become a double-edged sword. Kindness is like sunlight, it can warm and illuminate the world. But if misplaced, it can become scorching and destructive, even harming the giver. A person who is overly kind but lacks discernment becomes an easy target for exploitation, heartbreak, and even self-destruction. 1. Kindness cannot change the nature of a deceiver. Kindness is a noble virtue, but not everyone deserves it. In life, we encounter both genuine people who appreciate and cherish us, and opportunists who seek only to take advantage of us. These deceivers disguise themselves as kind and gentle, masking their greed behind sweet words and a pitiful demeanor. A deceitful person will often appear as someone in need, tugging at your heartstrings to win your sympathy. But once they gain your trust, they slowly manipulate your emotions, exploit your time, efforts, and even your goodwill. And when they no longer find you useful, they leave, or worse, betray you. Chinese historian Sima Guang once said, "A petty man feigns kindness but harbors malice. A noble man may appear stern, but he always keeps his word." A well-known parable about the man who saved a snake from a thorn bush illustrates this point clearly. The man, full of compassion, helped the struggling snake, only to be bitten in return. When he asked why, the snake replied, "You are kind because kindness is in your nature. I bite because cruelty is in mine." This is a harsh truth of life. Not everyone is worthy of your help. And kindness cannot change a person's true nature. 2. Do not give in to the greedy. Kindness needs limits. One of the biggest mistakes kind-hearted people make is their inability to say no. They give without expecting anything in return. Yet they fail to realize that greedy people are never satisfied. The more they receive, the more they want. There is an old saying, "Greed is a bottomless pit. The more you feed it, the deeper you sink." A grateful person will appreciate your kindness, but a greedy person sees it as their entitlement. Worse, if you stop giving, they may even resent you. If you do not establish boundaries, you will find yourself trapped in a never-ending cycle of unreasonable demands. A lesson from the story of the generous farmer. There was once a kind-hearted farmer who shared his crops with his neighbors every year. At first, it was out of goodwill, but over time, some neighbors started taking advantage of his generosity. They would come to him every season, taking what they wanted without contributing anything in return. Eventually, the farmer realized he needed to change. He decided that he would only help those who were willing to work alongside him in the fields. From then on, only those who truly valued his help would seek his assistance. Kindness without principles becomes a burden, but kindness with boundaries creates real value. 3. Do not give money to those who do not intend to repay. Money reveals true character. Money is one of the clearest tests of a person's character. A wise man once said, "A noble person values wealth but acquires and uses it ethically." When someone asks to borrow money, they generally fall into two categories. Checkmark those who are responsible and truly in need. Those who exploit kindness, borrow without intending to return, and find excuses to avoid repayment. If someone has borrowed money before and failed to repay or avoids responsibility, that is a clear sign you should not continue helping them. Do not hesitate to refuse, for if you don't, you may end up harming yourself. How to protect yourself? Only lend money if you are truly willing and can afford to lose it. Always set clear expectations and repayment terms. If someone has previously failed to repay, never lend to them again. A classic example is the story of Mrs. Elizabeth, a compassionate woman who always helped her neighbors in need. One particular neighbor borrowed money but never repaid her. Later, they returned, asking for more help. Initially hesitant, Elizabeth gave in to her emotions and helped again. This cycle repeated itself until she found herself struggling financially. The lesson here is simple. Kindness must be guided by wisdom. 4. Do not tolerate those who disrespect you. Protect your self-worth. Kindness does not mean you must endure disrespect. People who do not value you do not deserve your patience. Confucius once said, "He who disrespects others will inevitably be disrespected in return." Signs of disrespectful people. They constantly demand but never express gratitude. They take your kindness for granted. They impose their beliefs on you without consideration. If you encounter such people, have the courage to walk away. The more you tolerate them, the more they will look down on you. A lesson from Mr. Daniel's experience. Daniel was a hard-working professional who always yielded to his colleagues to maintain harmony. However, his excessive tolerance only led them to take advantage of him. They pushed extra work onto him, disregarded his contributions, and treated him unfairly. Only when he finally spoke up and set firm boundaries did they start respecting him. Conclusion: kindness must have principles. Being kind is a beautiful virtue, but if it lacks principles, it becomes a weakness for others to exploit. There is an old saying, "Being too good can make you a fool." Be kind with wisdom, compassionate with discernment, give to the right people, at the right time, and for the right reasons. This is how your kindness will truly have meaning and bring value to both yourself and those around you. Always remember, kindness is not weakness. It is a strength, but only when placed in the right hands.